Hi, Gabi. Can I ask you some questions about immigration and the political system in the United States?
Sure.
Okay, so you know how all this media coverage has been pointing to that immigrants are bad because of Donald Trump's point of view about them. So, what do you think? Do you think immigrants positive or negative to the American society?
I think immigrants are a positive addition to the American society, and they have been for as long as America has existed. Because if you see history record, actually, people who are actually living in the United States as Americans actually came from England. So they were the first immigrants, so to speak. So yeah, and they're like a really rich country because they have over the years accepted a flood of immigrants, not just from Mexico and South America, which is what's happening right now, but over the years they have been accepting Irish people from Italy, from all those European countries, especially during World War II, that a lot of people fled from Europe because it was too dangerous to live there, and they flourished since then. So I think that's proof enough that immigrants are actually a good addition to the country, and they shouldn't be afraid of these new kind of immigrants just because they come from somewhere else that's not Europe, that they come from South America and from Mexico, and that they are not like first world countries, but I do believe that they bring a lot of knowledge, a lot of tradition, and a lot of new skills. Um, of course, there's the manpower that's highly increased because of these immigrants, these South American immigrants or Mexican immigrants, that are jobs that normal Americans are not that willing to do, are low-paid jobs which are necessary. They must be done so society can function as it is. But Americans are not that high about doing them because they're not like very prestigious. Their pays are, well, relatively low, and they're not like aspiring. They're not aspiring to be like farmers and stuff like that. But that's the basis in which America stands, in which the United States stands. So I do believe immigration is very positive to America because it has made them who they are, and it can only make them grow.
So, as you mentioned, immigrants came have come from all parts of the world to the United States. But do you know or are you aware of the struggles they go through to get there?
Yes, I am highly aware. I am highly aware, for example, of the train that runs through through Mexico. That's nicknamed the La Bestia. That immigrants hop in and they go through this journey, this highly dangerous journey, and they come from as far as El Salvador or other Central American countries, not just Mexico, not just from Tabasco, which is like the midpoint from their hopping to the train and get going. And yes, I am aware that they brought only the minimal stuff that which they actually had to work hard to get, like a good set of tennis shoes or a good backpack, enough money for the ride or what they think will be for the ride, and then they have to pay the coyotes to cross them over to the border, and even then it's not right, like 100% sure they're gonna make it to the other side, and lots of them die in the desert, or they are mistreated by the border patrol, or they are even mistreated in Mexico as it is in the country. They are mistreated because they're not from there, and they don't know how to move or how to work there. And yeah, I know it's really hard, and I've seen reports of these of immigrants who have lost limbs, or they have just died from accidents in La Bestia. There are actually times where the train just wreckages and it falls off the railroad, and well, lots of there are immigrants on the roof. They're not like inside the train; they're on the roof, 100 miles per hour. Anything can happen to them, and there's also the risk of human traffic, which they are highly victims of that, and you would say, and it's actually more dangerous because they're not just like men, like grown men. Sometimes they come with children, they come with their women, they come with their wives, and or just the young girls or young boys alone on the trip just to get to the United States to try to make some money because back home they just can't afford to live like that.
So, I want to ask you more of what position. Well, if you're aware of the Democrat and the Republican Party.
Yes, I am. I understand.
So, like to said, who's who Republicans are. That I think the most representative is Donald Trump, and Hillary Clinton's for the conservative. And well, so who do you think you represent? Like, who do you support more? What party, the Republican or the Democratic Party?
Sorry, just to get it clear, Donald Trump is Republican. Okay, well, from what I understand, I think I have this understanding that Republicans are like a little bit for the mentality of every man by himself.
Yeah,
they're more to that mindset, and the Democrats do think that the government must help the people, must look for ways in which like the majority of the population is in a good condition and not just like fending from themselves. And from this perspective, I do think Donald Trump is not a good candidate, period. Because not representing this mindset is actually representing a very sick mindset of pure racism, and that's another thing. But between Democrats and Republicans, I do think the government must help its people. That's why it's there. A government is established because someone has to be in charge and someone has to take care of the people. Someone has to see that they all have a good education and they have a good health system, they have good financial aid, and they have a good whole economic system. So I think I identify more for Democrats with the Democrats from that point of view. That I do think that the government has the responsibility to respond to its people, to actually try and look for ways to help as many as it can.
So you're a Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay, so you side more to that part. Okay, so I don't know if you heard about one of the the law or what some of the Republicans want to do is build a fence around the Mexican border, so no immigrants can pass. So what do you think about this?
I think it is a lazy and pretty poorly thought idea. I mean, just build a wall. You're like, sure, okay, but there are other ways. Okay, immigrants are gonna pass. There are in Mexico there are these things called the narco tunnels, which just go through hills to the other side of the border. They are not gonna care for walls. And I think it doesn't only, like, it's pointless because, as I have said, immigrants will find another way to get through. I mean, they have been finding ways to go through almost two continents, to various countries just to get to the United States, I don't think a wall will stop them. So I think it's a pretty poorly thought idea, and really it just will be a waste of money, a waste of time. Because while you're building it, yeah, we immigrants are gonna like sit here tightly to wait for you to build your wall so we can like climb over it or try to climb over it or under it or whatever. So it's not a it's a poorly thought idea. Who would pay for it? I bet United States has other things to worry about, especially now. I have heard that they want Mexico to pay for it. Like, we don't have the money. We do not have the money, and if we do build it, it will be a poorly built wall, which will crumble in I don't know, a year span. And I'm giving it like a lot of consideration. So it's a poorly thought idea, which no substantious political, social, geographical, demographical background. So yeah.
Okay. The last question I wanted to ask you was, if you were running for presidency and if you won the presidency, what law would you enforce, like for immigration? Like you will be against it or in favor of? Like, if you were in favor, what will you do to make their lives easier? Or if you were against, what will you do to stop the problem?
I think it wouldn't be wise to go against it because, as I previously stated, it will go against the nature of what the United States is. It's a multicultural country with lots of immigrants, not just from Mexico and South America, but from Europe and Korea and Japan and China and countries all over the world. So it will be pretty illogical to be against immigration. So from that perspective, I think what needs to be done is regulation. I mean, you have to know who is getting into your country. That's true. You need to know. You need to know how they're getting in. I mean, if they are men, women, children, both, and I think that's like the first step. I think that's really the answer, to have a regulation which who enters the country and when. And so they have a better control or with who is getting in, who is actually an illegal immigrant. But I do think that what needs to be provided to them is work. Right now, I have heard that it's really difficult for an illegal immigrant to get a job because it's against the law actually to give work to illegal immigrants. So now what the United States have is a bunch of illegal immigrants not doing anything, not being economically active. They could work for the United States. That's what they're not seeing. They are working for the United States. They are going to eventually spend that money in the United States. So sure, they send a lot of it to Mexico, but who is getting like the handwork? United States. So I think what I would do is, regulate the immigrant traffic to better protect them, to better take care of them in the border. Like the police are pretty violent with them, and provide work. I know some said that they are stealing jobs from the Americans, but I mean, which American's going to want to go 8 hours a day, like working in the fields, like with crops? Not a good rated job, actually.
Okay, so what will you do is like regulate the past, like how they are treated in the border, their treatment to get in, and you will create jobs.
Yeah.
Like,
or allow them the chance to get a job.
Okay. That's all. That's all.